Hi there, and welcome to the Salt and Pepper, where we cook for real life using real food and we keep it real simple. And today I'm going to show you how to make coconut shrimp in the Ninja Foodi. I'm using the 6.5 quart, but you could use the 5 quart, which is the new compact model, or the 8 quart, so any of those will be fine. I bet you could even do this in the grill or the Ninja Foodi digital oven. So no matter what appliance you have, even if you have a standalone air fryer, you can make this recipe and it's going to be delicious. So coconut shrimp, I've never made it before I started testing this recipe, and I find that to be so interesting. And it's probably because I didn't do a whole lot of deep fat frying before I got my air fryer, which my first air fryer was the Ninja Foodi. So I have no previous experience with other air fryers. And I just never really liked deep fat frying. And not only just because of the unhealthiness of it, but because of the mess of it, So I never made them. And I thought, well, I'm going to make them for you guys. And I could not believe how easy they are. So this is even easier than my chicken nugget recipe. And I will link to that recipe right up there for you guys. All right, so the first thing we want to do is get the Ninja Foodi preheated. And I always like to preheat on broil. I do suggest that you preheat on broil if you have that setting. Now, for those of you with the UK model, it is called grill. I get that question a lot, so I wanted to let y'all know that in case you're watching from the UK. It is grill, is our broil in the US. And the 5 quart Ninja Foodi does not have the broil setting, so you're going to use the air crisp setting on the highest temperature, which I believe is 400 degrees. All right, so let's get this preheated, and I'm going to do broil, and 10 minutes is what we want. And I also have the fry basket inside with the diffuser legs on. So that's what we're going to use to fry up our shrimp. And we're going to let both get really nice and hot, 10 minutes of broil. All right, so now for the ingredients. Obviously, we can't have coconut shrimp without shrimp. And what I have here is 8 large shrimp. They're 25 to 30 count. The size doesn't really matter, so if you wanted to get the larger shrimp, you're gonna be fine. You might need to cook them another minute or so just to get the shrimp completely done, but you're gonna be fine no matter what. I don't recommend going any smaller than the large. They're just not that impressive when you go smaller than that, so definitely large or above for this recipe. And then, of course, we have to have coconut, and I have 1/2 cup of shredded sweetened coconut. Now, there is a difference between sweetened coconut and unsweetened coconut. You can use both. That doesn't matter. So you could use the unsweetened kind, but just know that there's more moisture in the sweetened kind because of the way it's sweetened. And so your timing for unsweetened coconut might be a little bit different. And not so much the timing, but the temperature. You might find that 375 air crisp is too high for the unsweetened coconut because it's drier and it might tend to burn. So just keep an eye on it if you're going to use the unsweetened kind. But for this recipe, I'm going to use 1/2 cup of the sweetened flaked coconut that you just get in a bag at the grocery store. And I have 1/4 cup of panko, just plain panko breadcrumbs there. And I'm going to dump those together and just sort of give them a mix up here. And that is our breading. Okay, that looks good. And then I have 1 egg here that I just whipped up, so it's all combined, and 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. And you could put the flour if you wanted into another container, but I find it's just as easy to dip the shrimp in something small, and so the flour is deep instead of spread out. So that's just my preference, but you can do it however you want. And now we're gonna get the shrimp ready. So these were previously frozen, and they already have been deveined. So these are called the easy peel shrimp. It's the only thing I can find local here, and so that's what I went with. But it does make it really nice for getting the shell off. You want to leave the tail on, okay, so that's important. And then just pinch the legs here, and you can just peel this whole shell right off. And look at how simple that is, okay? So we have a perfectly peeled shrimp with our tail intact, and it's already deveined. So, it makes it quick and simple. Maybe not the best quality shrimp, but hey, it's easy. All right, so I'm gonna do that with all of them. I have 8 shrimp here. And then don't throw away your shrimp shells either, because you can make shrimp stock out of them, and then from the shrimp stock you make shrimp scampi. And shrimp scampi is an elegant looking dish that is super easy, and it tastes just like you ordered it out at a restaurant. In fact, I've been told it's even better. So I will link to that shrimp scampi recipe right up there. So freeze your shells until you're ready to make that shrimp scampi. And you can make the shrimp stock and freeze that as well. All right. So there are our shrimp. Now, of course, you can make as many of these as you want, but 8 is about the maximum that I can fit in the Ninja Foodi basket. So that's what I'm choosing to do here today. All right, so now let's get these breaded up with our coconut and our breading and our egg mixture. Now, what we're gonna do first is dip this into the flour to coat. You don't need a heavy coating, just a light coating. Some people will use cornstarch, but I just prefer to use flour. And then we're gonna dip it in the egg mixture. And then we coat it with our panko and our coconut. Now, I have actually tried to double dip these, and it does work, but I didn't like the flavor as much. I thought it was just too heavy. All right, so that looks good. That's our first coconut shrimp, and we're gonna put that right there. I'm gonna do the rest of these exactly the same way. We have about 3 minutes left, and that should be plenty of time for me to get these done, and then we will get them in the air fryer. All right, so I finished breading up the 8 coconut shrimp. I added a couple minutes to the broil, so we're preheating for about 12 minutes, so I could just clean up and wash my hands and all that stuff. So now I'm gonna start off all fresh here, and we're gonna get these air fried as soon as this finishes. Actually, I don't even need to wait for it to finish because it's already been 10 minutes, so let's not even worry about that. Let's go ahead and turn the Ninja Foodi off. You wanna use some sort of an oil, whether it's a canola or even an olive oil or avocado, whatever you like to use, and spritz the basket. And I close the lid because I like to trap in the heat. All right, so now let's see if I can pick these up pretty carefully from the tails there, and I'm gonna place them into the basket. And I hear it sizzling, that's good news there. So I'm trying not to grab the actual shrimp. I wanna grab the tail so that I don't knock off any of the breading. And you also, once you put them down, you don't wanna move them around a lot. So I'm trying to fit them in so I know that all 8 will fit without really being close to each other, or touching at least. All right, I gotta fit this one last guy in. Oh, where's he gonna go? I'm gonna have to move one of my shrimp. I didn't wanna have to do that, but I'm gonna have to. Right there. And then I will grab him and move him right here. Okay, perfect. Now give another little spritz on top of the shrimp. 2 to 3 is fine. And we're gonna go down, put the Tender Crisp lid down, and turn the Ninja Foodi back on. We're gonna go to Air Crisp, and we want to go to 375 and hit start. We're gonna go for 5 minutes on one side, and then we'll flip and we'll go another 5, and that is usually all the time they need. In fact, sometimes I've taken them off sooner. I did try the recipe out with going at 390, and what I found was the coconut just started to get a little bit too dark. So I've changed the temperature to 375, and I think it's gonna work just perfectly for you. All right, so it's been just about 4 minutes, and I'm gonna go ahead and peek in on them. I really encourage you to check on your food when you're air frying, because what temperature might work at one point might not work again. It might, be overcooking them. So always take a peek, every few minutes, all right? And I can see immediately that there's a couple that look like they are getting, like they're done on that side. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip right now. So I'm flipping at 4 minutes instead of 5. And it's really interesting because the ones in the middle don't look like they're getting as done. And but on the bottom they are. That's interesting. So I'm just gonna move these around a little bit, because now you can go ahead and move the shrimp where you want them. So I'm gonna move the ones that were in the middle to the outside here. Wow, Wow, they look so good though. Oh my goodness. All right. One more spritz and we're gonna go down. I think we only need like maybe another minute here. And if yours are getting too dark, please decrease the heat to 350. I mean, this is not written in stone. This is just what's worked for me on the test batches, but you can adjust it, the temperature up and down, change the time up and down until you get the perfect coconut shrimp for you. And I think maybe one more minute is gonna do it for me. So that means we made these in about 6 minutes. That's pretty impressive. All right, let's check on them. You know what? They are done. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off. And we're gonna take them out now, put them on our plate. They look gorgeous. I mean, really, they look gorgeous. I'm gonna let them cool though for about 5 minutes before I bite into one. I've learned my lesson with biting into super hot food. I've burned my mouth probably about 10 times doing videos now, so I am gonna let them cool down. But look at that. Oh my gosh, they look so good. All right, so you can see 6 to 7 minutes a batch. You could just make a whole bunch of them, and they're a great appetizer. And you can also make them up, bread them up ahead of time and put them in the freezer, but I have not tested the time of that yet. I plan on doing that and including that in my written recipe that you can find on my website, www.thesaltedpepper.com. But I'm pretty sure you can just air crisp at 375. You just might need to go a little bit longer with your time. All right. Let's wait a minute. Let's hurry up and wait, right? All right, I think that's been long enough, so let me go ahead and dip this in my little sauce here, which I will tell you what that is in just a minute. Wow. They are perfect. Wonderful coconut flavor. The shrimp is perfectly cooked. You know, that shrimp cooks really fast, so to achieve this nice crispy exterior with perfectly cooked shrimp is just fantastic. I mean, it just really is wonderful. You're gonna love this recipe. And let me talk about what I'm dipping them in because I know you're gonna wanna make up a batch. It is so delicious. So typically, coconut shrimp, like, you know, in restaurants and stuff, typically they're served with like an orange marmalade, kind of a sweet and sour type of dipping sauce. Although that varies, of course. What I decided to do was make a pineapple sweet and sour sauce because I had pineapple here and I needed to use it up. And I used canned pineapple, not fresh, but I'm sure you could use fresh as well. And I made this sauce. And originally it was made to go with my crab rangoon recipe, which I will link to at the end of this video for you. But I thought, oh, it's gonna be good with the coconut shrimp. And I tried it and it was. So this is a sauce that really works perfectly with both. So you can make one sauce, 2 appetizers, and have just a wonderful party. I hope you love this one. And if you haven't subscribed yet, you can subscribe to my channel if you wanna be notified of any upcoming videos. Make sure to hit the red subscribe button and the bell next to it, and then you will get a notification when I put out a new video. All right, till next time.